Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.
Bandeyam Shri Guru Shiyatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabladutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shirishkam Vitam Sya Om Agyana Timrandasya Gyanachana Shlakaya Chakshurun Milidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Guraganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pradam Devam Divyatanam Suchandabaranam Balar Kuchilanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyambunim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishwara Shridaram Vanshakopatarubyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamaranyaya Krishna Prema Pranayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gorata Vishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Madhya-lila chapter 6. The Liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, text number 154. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetra Gyakya Tata Pura Avidya Karma Samgyaya Jatiya Shaktir Ishate. The internal potency of the Supreme Lord Vishnu is spiritual as verified by the Shastras. There is another spiritual potency known as Kshetragya, or the living entity. This third potency, which is known as nescience, makes the living entity godless and fills him with fruitive activity. So this verse is in the Vishnu Purana, describes how the Lord has multiple energies, internal or spiritual, marginal, the living entities, or external, which is the material energy. And the living entity is in that, what is called here, Kshetragya, or the marginal energy, Tatastha Shakti. Yaya Kshetragya Shakti Sa Veshtitan Ripasarvaga Samsara Tapun Akilan Avapnoti Atra Santatan. O King, the Kshetragya Shakti is the living entity. Although one has the facility to live in either the material world or the spiritual world, one suffers the threefold miseries of material existence because one is influenced by the avidya, nescience potency, which covers one's constitutional position. And so really the constitutional position of the jiva soul, or soul, is that jiva swarupo Krishna nityadas, that one is the eternal servant of the Lord. So that can be shown in different ways, different forms of servitude, either to the Lord or to the Lord's mundane energy. But one way or another, the quality of being a servant will come out. Taya tiro hitatvatscha shakti kshetragyasam gita sarvabhuteshu bhupala taratam yena vartate. The living entity covered by the influence of nescience exists in different forms in the material condition. O King, one is thus proportionally freed from the influence of material energy to a greater or lesser degree. To a greater or lesser degree, one is getting different kinds of bodies, and these bodies are under the modes of material nature. So to a greater degree, what means one has some actual vision by being, for instance, a person who is in elevated conscious, and lesser degree will be in some animal species or plant species or insect species or bacteria species, and without so much vision in terms of perspective of reality. Ladini sandini samvitvayeka sarvasamshraya. Ladini sandini samvitvayeka sarvasamshraya. Ladatapa kori mishra tvayi no gunavarjite. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Satchidananda Vigraha. This means that he originally has three potencies: the pleasure potency, the potency of eternality, and the potency of knowledge. Together, these are called the Chit potency, and they are present in full in the Supreme Lord. For the living entities who are part and parcel of the Lord, the pleasure potency in the material world is sometimes displeasing and sometimes mixed. This is not the case with the Supreme Lord, because he is not under the influence of the material energy or its modes. Satchidananda Moy Hoy Ishwara Swarup Tina Amshe Chid Shakti Hoy Tina Rup. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his original form is full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. The spiritual potency in these three positions, Satchidananda, assumes three different forms. Anamdamshe Ladini Sadamshe Sandini Chidamshe Samvit Jare Jnana Korimani. The three portions of the spiritual potency are called Ladini, the pleasure portion, Sandini, the eternity portion, and Samvit, the knowledge portion. We accept knowledge of these as full knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Antaranga Chit Shakti Tatasta Jiva Shakti Bahiranga Maya Tine Kore Prima Bhakti. The spiritual potency of the Lord also appears in three phases: internal, marginal, and external. These are all engaged in his devotional service and love. Shadvida Ishvarya Prabhu Chid Shakti Vilas Hena Shakti Nahiman Paramasahas. In his spiritual potency, the Supreme Lord enjoys 6 kinds of opulences. You do not accept this spiritual potency, and this is due to your great impudence. The Supreme Lord is full with 6 opulences. All of these potencies are on the transcendental platform. To understand the Lord as impersonal and devoid of potency is to go completely against Vedic information. Maya Disha, Maya Vasha, Ishware Jiva Ved, Hena Jive, Ishwara Saha Kahata Abed. The Lord is the master of the potencies, and the living entity is a servant of them. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entity. However, you declare that the Lord and the living entities are one and the same. So this is Mahaprabhu's refutation of what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said based on Shankaracharya Sharirak Bhashya, which is impersonalism. That is the nature of Sarvabhauma's knowledge is based on impersonalism. So here Mahaprabhu comments to him, the Lord is the master of the potencies and the living entity is a servant of them. That is the difference between the Lord and the living entity. However, you declare that the Lord and the living entities are one and the same. Whereas the living entity is under illusion, the Lord is not. The living entity is a servant of the energies of the Lord, whether they're spiritual or whether they're material. But the Lord himself is the controller of those energies. So here Mahaprabhu is commenting to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, how can you declare that the living entities are non-different from the Lord, one and the same, when they are under the influence of illusion, but illusion is the energy of the Lord himself. Gita Shastre Jiva Rup Shakti Korimane Hena Jive Veda Kora Ishwarera Sane. In the Bhagavad Gita, the living entity is established as the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Yet you say that the living entity is completely different from the Lord. So the impersonalists, they say that Brahma or spirit cannot become changed, cannot become mutable. So they say the idea that the living entity exists would mean that Brahma or spirit has to be changed. Therefore, they say the idea of individual existence, the impersonalists say the idea of individual existence is illusion. But we don't say that. We say the idea of the living entities as individuals is not illusion because it's a fact. It is actually the Lord has multiple energies and he can utilize those energies. It's not that to say that the Lord's manifestation of energy means that he has become changed. Just like you have energies, you're expanding your energies in so many different ways. Someone's cooking, someone's, working, someone's resting, whatever. One has different energies which one utilizes. We don't say that the person has become changed by utilizing their energies. That doesn't result in the person becoming fundamentally changed because he or she has energies. In the Bhagavad Gita, the living entity is established as a marginal potency of the Supreme Lord, yet you say that the living entity is completely different from the Lord. The Brahma Sutra states that according to the principle of Shakti Shakti Mator Abhed, Shakti Shakti Mator Abheda, the living entity is simultaneously one with and different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Qualitatively, the living entity and the Supreme Lord are one. They both are eternal, they're both cognizant, and they're both in the original state full of happiness. So they have that same qualities. Qualitatively, the living entity and the Supreme Lord are one, but in quantity they are different. The living entity is infinitesimal, whereas the Lord himself is infinite. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, Achintya Beta Beta Tattva, the living entity and the Supreme Lord are accepted as one and different at the same time. One in quality, but different in magnitude or size, however you want to put it. Bhumerapunnalo vayu kammano budere vacha hankara iti yamme bina prakritir ashtada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego are my eightfold separated energies. So the material energy is, you can say ether or space, air, fire, ether, space, ether, air, fire, water, earth, and then subtle energies, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego are my eightfold separated energies. So we say air is an element. Ether can be said like space, like outer space. There's no air there. Aparayamitastvanyam prakritim vidime param Shivabhutam Mahabaho Yayedam Daryate Jagat. Besides these inferior energies, which are material, there is another energy, a spiritual energy, and this is the living being. O mighty armed one. The entire material world is sustained by the living entities. Now this is from Bhagavad Gita. Mighty armed one refers to Arjuna, Krishna speaking to Arjuna. And he tells that the whole material existence is sustained by the living entities which have been injected into that material energy by the glance of the Lord. Ishvarer Shri Vigraha Sachidanandakar Se Vigrahe Kaha Sattva Gunera Vikar. The transcendental form of the Lord is complete in eternity, cognizance, and bliss. However, you describe the transcendental form as a product of material goodness, because that is the idea of the impersonalist, that any form is now subject to the material modes of nature, and the so-called form of the Lord is shown by the quality of goodness, but actually this is incorrect. The Lord's form has nothing to do with the material qualities. Shri Vigraha Yena Mane Seta Pashandi Adrishya Asprishya Se Hoyama Dandi. One who does not accept the transcendental form of the Lord is certainly an agnostic. Such a person should be neither seen nor touched. Indeed, he is subject to be punished by Yamaraj. Means he's subject to death. Vedana Maniya Bodha Hoita Nastika Vedashraya Nastika Vad Bodhake Adika. Everyone who is within the throes of material nature, of course, is subject to death. The Buddhists do not recognize the authority of the Vedas, therefore they are considered agnostics. However, those who have taken shelter of the Vedic scriptures yet preach agnosticism in accordance with the Mayavad philosophy are certainly more dangerous than the Buddhists. So what's being said here is that Mayavad philosophy is very close to what is Buddhism. Buddha appeared in India, and what he taught is basically Mayavad philosophy. But Mayavad philosophy here makes a comment because the Mayavads are more dangerous than the Buddhists because the Buddhists don't accept the Vedas. So if one says this is not according to the Vedas, then they will just say we are not following the Vedas. But the Mayavads, they use the same philosophy, but they claim it is based on Vedic knowledge. So this is Mahaprabhu's comment. Jiver nishtara lage sutra koilabhyas Mayavadi bhashya shunile hoy sarvanash. Srila Vyasadeva presented the Vedanta philosophy for the deliverance of the conditioned souls. But if one hears the commentary of Shankaracharya, everything is spoiled. Parinama Vad Vyasa Sutaras Samata Achintya Shakti Ishwar Jagarupe Parinata. The Vedanta Sutra aims at establishing that the cosmic manifestation has come into being by the transformation of the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, the cosmic manifestation exists by the energy of the Lord. Mani Jaichi Abhikrite Prasabe Hemabar Jagadrupa Hoy Ishwara Tabu Abhikar. The touchstone, after touching iron, produces volumes of gold without being changed. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself as a cosmic manifestation by his inconceivable potency, yet he remains unchanged in his eternal transcendental form. So here, this is an interesting point, and in the reference to the touchstone, it touches metal, changes it to gold, but that touchstone remains unchanged. So in chemistry, we would use the term a catalyst. A catalyst means that something that is necessary for a reaction to take place, but that catalyst is not changed in the reaction. It just has to be there for the thing to take place. So here it is saying that the Lord manifests the material energy, but as a touchstone or as a catalyst, he is not changed. It is the utilization of his energies. But the Mayavads say if the material existence, if the material nature exists, then that would mean that spiritual substance, or Brahma, has been changed. But we're saying no, this does not logically follow. There are many things that show the utilization of energy, but which are unchanged unchanged in the reaction or in what takes place. Just as the touchstone touches metal, changes it to gold, but the touchstone itself is not changed to gold. The touchstone just acts in that way, has that potency. So in an experiment, for instance, chemical experiment, catalyst is there, the reaction takes place, something is changed in that reaction, but the catalyst is not changed. So this is the idea of the example that Mahaprabhu has given. Vyasa Branda Boli says Sutre Doshadiya Vivartavad Stapi Yache Kalpana Koriya. Shankaracharya's theory states that the absolute truth is transformed. By accepting this theory, the Mayavadi philosophers denigrate Srila Vyasadeva by accusing him of error. Thus they find fault in the Vedanta Sutra and interpret it to try to establish the theory of illusion. So the Mayavadis, although Vyasadeva has presented the Vedanta Sutra, the Mayavadis claim that Vyasadeva is in error. But we always say that the compilation of the Shastras is not subject to four defects that we see in this world that people have. One is that they make mistakes. 2, that their senses are limited. 3, that they're in illusion. Or 4, that they have a cheating tendency. Those qualities exist with humans, but the Shastra is not subject to the idea of committing mistakes. Otherwise, why accept it if it is fallible? So here Mahaprabhu says, Shankaracharya has said that Vedavyas is making mistake. The first verse of the Brahma Sutra is a Tato Brahma Jigyasa. We must now inquire into the absolute truth. The second verse immediately answers Janmadya Shayata. The absolute truth is the original source of everything. Janmadya Shayata does not suggest that the original person has been transformed. To utilize one's energies doesn't mean that one is transformed. Brahma is not transformed by showing different energies, the material energy, the marginal energy, the spiritual energy. Shankaracharya said that Vedavyas is in illusion, making mistakes, we'll say, because he talks about the transformation of energy. But Shankaracharya says, no, Brahma can't be transformed. But we don't say that Brahma is transformed. We say that just the energy is being utilized. Rather, it is Janmadya Shayata does not suggest that the original person has been transformed. Rather, it clearly indicates that he produces his cosmic manifestation through his inconceivable energy. This is also clearly explained in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Mata sarvam pravartati. From me everything emanates. This is also confirmed in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Yato va imani bhutani jayante. The supreme absolute truth is that from which everything is born. Similarly, in the Mundaka Upanishad, it is stated, Yatorna nabi srijate grinate cha. The Lord creates and destroys the cosmic manifestation as a spider creates a web and draws it back within itself. All these sutras indicate the transformation of the Lord's energy. It is not that the Lord undergoes direct transformation, which is called parinam vad. However, being very anxious to protect Srila Vyasadeva from criticism, Shankaracharya became a pseudo-gentleman and put forward his theory of illusion, Vivartavad. Shankaracharya concocted this idea of parinam vad, and by word jugglery he endeavored very hard to establish parinam vad as Vivartavad. That the idea of the transformation of energies implies that the original spiritual substance is transformed. And this is what is happening as material logic here. Actually, that's what it's about. For instance, if I have a cake, I cut up the cake and make it into portions, and I give out the portions, the cake no longer exists. So that is a material conception. Something is now being cut up into portions, and now it no longer exists. But we'll say spiritual mathematics is 1 minus 1 is equal to 1. The Lord can transform his energy, or 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. The Lord can expand himself, but he is not transformed. He is not like a material substance that loses its form or existence by expanding himself. Jiver dehe atma buddhi se mitya hoy, jagat je mitya nahi, nashvara matra hoy. The theory of illusion can be applied only when the living entity identifies himself with the body. As far as the cosmic manifestation is concerned, it cannot be called false, although it is certainly temporary. Have a seat. As you like. The theory of illusion can be applied only when the living entity identifies himself with the body. As far as the cosmic manifestation is concerned, it cannot be called false, although it is certainly temporary. So what is temporary doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. This means it's a temporary existence. This table exists. Then it can be ground down into sawdust, and then the table no longer exists. But although it is changed, that doesn't mean it never existed. So Shankaracharya's philosophy, he says that everything we see, everything experience is illusion, but that is not what the Vedas state. The Vedas say that this material existence exists and is not illusory, but it is temporary. But where does illusion come in? If we talk about where is illusion, illusion exists that I am accepting this material body as my real existence. Although I'm spirit soul, I'm saying that I'm this body. That is called upadi. So many upadis. I'm taking so many material indications of my existence, like I believe, that that I'm a man or a woman, or I'm a child or an adult or an old person, or that I'm a dog or a cat, or or I'm of this social stature, or I'm of this religion, or I'm that. All these things are mundane designations. They have nothing to do with my eternal existence. But they're called upadis. They're called material designations I have. And it is illusory to identify myself with those different designations. Like somebody can be rich, the next day they can be poor. So to say I'm a rich person, that's wrong. To say I'm a poor person, I'm not any of those things. I'm not a young man or an old man, because I may be a young man today and in a few years I'll be an old man. It's like everything is changing. One can change any identity in this world, so we're not those external identities. So it is not illusion. It is the wrong use of the word illusion to say that this material world is illusory. No, this material world is temporary. But it is not illusion. What is the illusion? That I am identifying myself with material existence. That is the illusion. I'm thinking that I'm something of this material world. That is just my temporary existence. That's not my eternal existence. Pranavaje Mahabhakya Ishwarer Murti Pranava Hoite Sarvabhe Jagat Utpati. The transcendental vibration, Omkara, is the sound form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All Vedic knowledge and this cosmic manifestation are produced from this sound representation of the Supreme Lord. So Omkara is the representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in sound. The form of his holy name is accepted as a transcendental vibration, Mahavakya, by virtue of which the temporary material manifestation has come into being. If one takes shelter of the sound representation of the Supreme Lord, Omkara, one can realize one's constitutional identity, engage in devotional service, even though in conditioned life. So Omkara means Om, the sound Om. That is a sound representation of the Lord. Tattvamasi Jiva Hetu Pradeshika Vakya Pranavana Manitare Kohe Mahabhakya. The subsidiary vibration, Tattvamasi, you are the same, is meant for the understanding of the living entity, but the principal vibration is Omkara. Not caring for Omkara, Shankaracharya has stressed the vibration, Tattvamasi. So it is said that a half-truth is worse than a lie. So Tattvamasi is half of what is, it's saying you are the same as the Lord. That's what Tattvamasi means. So yes, you are the same as the Lord, but that's only half the truth. You are also different than the Lord. You have the same qualities as the Lord, as eternity, you're eternal, you're cognizant, you have consciousness, and also in Ananda means you have happiness. The Lord has these three qualities. But we are infinitesimal. We are small in size, and the Lord is infinite. So we are the same as the Lord, but at the same time there is a difference. Just like the spark has the same qualities as the fire. The spark has light and heat, like the fire. But the difference is the spark is very small in size. When it jumps out of the fireplace, the spark becomes extinguished, but the fire continues burning. So the spark has the qualities of heat and light like the fire, but in much more limited size or degree. Emate kalpita bhashe shatadosha dila Bhattacharya purvapaka aparakorila. Thus Chaitanya Mahaprabhu criticized Shankaracharya's Sharirak Bhashya as imaginary, and he pointed out hundreds of faults in it. To defend Shankaracharya, however, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya presented unlimited opposition. He tried in many ways opposition, through argument, through intimidation, so many ways to provide unlimited opposition. Like, I can argue with you, or then to try and defeat you, I can say, oh, you're a young boy, what do you know? You cannot argue with me. You're just a boy. You have no knowledge. That's intimidation. In logic, there's a term in logic called genetic fallacy. It is like I'm saying, the evidence that you are giving cannot be accepted. It has to be seen as false because you are a drunkard. But even a drunkard, if he sees something that's wrong, sees a crime, he can still say, I may be a drunkard, but I saw this happen. But genetic fallacy means, oh, you can't accept that. You can't accept this. You're a boy. You have no stature. How can you have no experience in this? How can you argue? So, thus Mahaprabhu criticized Shankaracharya Sharirag Bhashya as imaginary, and he pointed out hundreds of faults in it. To defend Shankaracharya, however, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya presented unlimited opposition. Vitanda chala nigrahari aneka utaila sabkhande prabhu nija mata sestapila. The Bhattacharya presented various types of false arguments with pseudo-logic and tried to defeat his opponent in many ways. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refuted all these arguments and established his own conviction. The word vitanda indicates that a debater, not touching the main point of establishing his own point, simply tries to refute the other person's argument. When one does not touch the direct meaning but tries to divert attention by misinterpretation, he engages in chala. The word nigraha also means always trying to refute the arguments of the other party. So many false ways of doing that. It can even be by intimidation. If you continue speaking like this, you'll be put in jail. It's not touching on the argument, but it's one way of refuting the other party. Bhagavan Sambandha Bhakti Abhideya Hoy Prema Prayojana Vedi Tina Bastukoi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the central point of all relationships. Acting in devotional service to Him is one's real occupation, and the attainment of love of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. These three subject matters are described in the Vedic literature. So this is referred to by the terms of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Sambandha means that everyone has a relationship with the Supreme Lord. So knowing one's relationship with the Lord is called Sambandha. That is relationship. Abhideya means acting within that relationship. If you know that you have a relationship with the Lord and you act within the relationship, that's what Abhideya is. Abhideya means bhakti or devotional service, acting within the relationship. And prayojana means the goal. The goal is love of Godhead or prema. So the sambandha, one spiritual master is meant to acquaint one with sambandha, that you have a relationship with the Lord. Then comes abhideya, showing or teaching that one can act within devotional service to satisfy that relationship. And prayojana, the goal, is by acting in one's relationship with the Lord, one will come to the stage of love of Godhead. Those are the three subjects. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Arajeje Kichuko He Sakala Ikalpana Swata Brahmana Ved Vakye Kalpana Lakana. If one tries to explain the Vedic literature in a different way, one is indulging in imagination. Any interpretation of the self-evident Vedic version is simply imaginary. So Mahaprabhu is stressing, you should not try to interpret what is being said, but you should try more to present what is its direct meaning, not basing some explanation on your basis of your own imagination without touching what really is being described. Acharjara dosha nahi ishwara agya hoila ateva kalpana kori nashtika shastra koila. Actually, there's no fault on the part of Shankaracharya. He simply carried out the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He had to imagine some kind of interpretation, and therefore he presented a kind of Vedic literature that is full of atheism. So this was all according to the plan of the Lord, that Shankaracharya would speak in this way. Because there is a progressive development that's happening, and Shankaracharya has a role within that development. That is, what has been said is that originally people were misinterpreting the Vedas and using it as a justification for all kinds of wrong activities, specifically for animal killing and so many other things. So then, to refute that, Buddha appeared and he said, stop all this violence, Buddha said. And then the person say, well, we are just doing sacrifices of animals, which is really meant for their own satisfaction of their tongue to eat them. We're doing sacrifices according to the Vedas. Buddha said, no, I don't accept the Vedas. I don't work within the parameters of the Vedas. I don't accept them. So that's the first stage. Buddha stopped everything. And when they said, well, what about the Vedas? He said, I'm not operating within the Vedas. I don't accept the Vedas. So that stopped. That's the first stage. Then Shankaracharya basically presents philosophy similar to Buddha, but he says, I am acting within the Vedas, and this is what the Vedas are teaching. So that takes persons back a little bit to the Vedas, but still in not a correct position. And then Mahaprabhu appears and he says, actually, what is really meant is this, that it is establishing Sambandha Videya Prayojana. That's Mahaprabhu's philosophy is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, simultaneously one with and different. So that's what Mahaprabhu is establishing. The living entity is the same as the Lord, but different in size, different in magnitude. So there's a progressive development. The Buddha stopping the misuse of the Vedas, Shankaracharya bringing the people back closer to the Vedas, and then Mahaprabhu presenting what is the correct meaning. So here it's mentioned. Actually, there is no fault on the part of Shankaracharya. He simply carried out the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He had to imagine some kind of interpretation, and therefore he presented a kind of Vedic literature that is full of atheism. Swagamai kalpitais tvam cha janan mad vimukhan guru mam cha gopaya yena shat shishtir esho taro tara. Addressing Lord Shiva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, please make the general populace averse to me by imagining your own interpretation of the Vedas. Also cover me in such a way that people will take more interest in advancing material civilization just to propagate a population bereft of spiritual knowledge. So what is this saying? It's saying that Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, and he's been asked to present this by the Lord himself. Mayavadam asats chastram prachanam bodham uchate mayaiva vitam devi kalo brahmana murtina. Lord Shiva informed Goddess Durga, the superintendent in the material world, in the age of Kali, I take the form of a Brahmin and explain the Vedas through false scriptures in an atheistic way, similar to Buddhist philosophy. The word Brahmana Murtina in this verse refers to the founder of Mayavad philosophy, Shankaracharya, who was born in the Malabar district of southern India. Mayavad philosophy states that the Supreme Lord, the living entities, and the cosmic manifestation are all transformations of illusory energy. To support this atheistic theory, the Mayavadis cite false scriptures which make people bereft of transcendental knowledge and addicted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. This verse is a quotation from the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda. Shuni Bhattacharya hoila parama vishmita mukena nisarevani hoila stambita. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became very much astonished upon hearing this. He became stunned and said nothing. Prabhu kohe Bhattacharya nakora vishmoy bhagavane bhakti parama purushartha hoy. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told him, do not be astonished. Actually, devotional service unto the Lord is the highest perfection of human activity. Atmarama parjanta kori ishvara bhajan aiche achintya bhagavanera gunagan. Even the self-satisfied sages perform devotional service to the Lord. Such are the transcendental qualities of the Lord. They are full of inconceivable spiritual potency. Atmaramascha munayo nirgranta apiyarukrame kurvanti ahaitukim bhaktim itam bhuta gunohari. Those who are self-satisfied and unattracted by external material desires are also attracted to the loving service of Sri Krishna, whose qualities are transcendental and whose activities are wonderful. Hari, the personality of God, is called Krishna because he has such attractive features. Shuni Bhattacharya kohe shuna mahashai shlokararta shunite banchahoy. After hearing the Atmarama verse, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya addressed Mahaprabhu, my dear sir, please explain this verse. I have a great desire to hear your explanation of it. Prabhu kohe tumiki arta kora taha ageshuni pache ami koriba arta jeba kichu jani. The Lord replied, first let me hear your explanation. After that I shall try to explain what little I know. So Mahaprabhu, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked, let me hear you explain this Atmarama verse, which is in the Bhagavatam, the Lord says, you first say something, then I may add something afterwards. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow I'll talk about this point of the Mahaprabhu's explanation of the Atmarama verse. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Raya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Maranamohan Giridhari Gopinatha Maranamohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Janardan Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sanatan Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Hey Chai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Te Vignana Shabista Puran Hey Chai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Asabar Padarenu Mora Panchagas Hare Charan Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame More Abhilas Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Gauri Labrakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Toriya Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamuna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Garanga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashishi Mad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashishi Mad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattacharya Shri Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Nanda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Sri Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.